Imagine this. You're lost in an expansive forest with just the clothes on your back, and night is fast approaching. Your heart is pounding in your chest like a drum, your breath is coming out in short, sharp gasps, and your mind is racing with a million thoughts. You're in a survival situation, and every decision you make could be the difference between life and death. Survival isn't just about brute strength or sheer luck, it's about knowledge and preparation. It's about knowing how to use the resources around you, how to stay calm under pressure. And most importantly, it's about having the right gear. In the wilderness, the right survival tools aren't just handy, they're essential. They can help you find your way back to civilization, provide you with shelter, and even save your life. Now, wouldn't it be great to have some survival essentials in your arsenal? So, first things first, a good knife is a survivalist's best friend. Think about it, when you're out there in the wild, a knife can serve as a multifunctional tool. From preparing food, building shelter, to creating fire, a knife can do it all. It can help you slice through the tough exterior of a coconut or carve a piece of flint for fire. But what makes a good survival knife? It should be sturdy, reliable, and sharp. A full tang knife, where the blade material extends through the handle, is ideal. It's more robust and less likely to break under pressure. The blade should be sharp enough to cut through various materials, but not too sharp that it becomes brittle. You might also want to consider a knife with a serrated edge for sawing through wood or rope. So remember, a knife isn't just a tool, it's a lifeline. Moving on, let's talk about staying warm and cooking food. Fire starters. Now, a fire is more than a source of warmth. In a survival situation, it's your lifeline. It deters predators, provides light, and is essential for cooking food and purifying water. There are several types of fire starters, each with their own advantages. Flint and steel, for instance, is a classic. It's reliable and long-lasting. Then we have fire pistons, a bit more advanced, but just as effective. They use a rapid compression of air to ignite a piece of tinder. And let's not forget about magnesium fire starters. They're compact, lightweight, and work even when wet. But remember, it's not just about having the right tools. You also need to know how to use them. Practice makes perfect, so get out there and start some fires. With a reliable fire starter, you can brave the cold and keep your belly full. Scene script. Next up, let's quench your thirst with water purification. When it comes to survival, clean water is paramount. It's the lifeblood of our bodies, keeping us hydrated and our systems functioning properly. Drinking contaminated water can lead to serious illnesses, or worse, which is why water purification is a must in any survival situation. There are various methods to purify water. Boiling is the most common and accessible method. It kills most of the harmful organisms, making the water safe to drink. Another method is using purification tablets or drops, which are easy to carry and use. They chemically treat the water, eliminating most of the pathogens. And then, there's the use of portable water filters or purifiers. These devices remove not only bacteria and viruses, but also sediments and some chemicals. Having multiple ways to purify water boosts your chances of survival in the wilderness. It's about being prepared, being resourceful, and being safe. Remember, water is life, make sure it's clean. Now, let's talk about your home away from home. Shelter. Shelter is your refuge in the wilderness, your protection from the elements, and a vital aspect to your survival. It shields you from harsh weather, insulates you from the cold, and gives you a place to rest and regain your strength. There are many types of shelters you can build, each with its own set of advantages. A lean-to, for instance, is a simple structure that can be quickly assembled using branches and leaves, while a debris hut offers more insulation and protection. For snowy conditions, a snow cave or an igloo might be your best bet. Building these shelters can be as simple as piling up snow and carving out an interior. Remember, the key is to choose your shelter based on the environment and the materials available. Time and energy are precious commodities in a survival situation. A good shelter can be the difference between a rough night and a restful one. Next, let's patch things up with a first aid kit. When you're out in the wilderness, a first aid kit isn't just a luxury, it's an absolute necessity. In a survival situation, you're more likely to encounter injuries, from minor cuts and scrapes to potentially life-threatening wounds. Picture this. You're miles away from the nearest hospital, and you accidentally cut your hand. Without a first aid kit, that small cut could quickly become a major problem. But with a well-stocked first aid kit and a little knowledge, you can clean and dress the wound, preventing infection and further complications. So, what should you include in a survival first aid kit? Well, at the very least, You'll want bandages, antiseptic wipes, tweezers, medical tape, a needle and thread, and painkillers. You should also consider including a splint for broken bones and a tourniquet for severe bleeding. Remember, in a survival situation, a first aid kit can truly be a lifesaver. Finally, let's round up our list with food, navigation, signaling, and clothing. Food is the fuel that keeps us going, and in a survival scenario it becomes even more critical. When you're exerting yourself physically, your body needs more calories to function properly. But remember, we're talking about survival, not gourmet dining. High energy, easy to carry foods like energy bars, nuts, and dried fruits are excellent choices. They don't spoil easily and can provide the necessary nutrition to keep you going. And don't forget to learn some basic hunting and foraging skills. They can come in handy when your packed food runs out. Moving on to navigation. Ever heard of the saying, "Not all those who wander are lost"? Well, in a survival situation, you certainly don't want to be the one wandering. A compass and a map are essential tools for navigation. But don't just pack them away in your survival kit. Learn how to use them, know how to read a map, and understand how a compass works. In the age of GPS, these skills might seem outdated, but trust me, they can be lifesavers when technology fails. Next up, signaling. If you're lost or stranded, your primary goal should be to get rescued. And for that, you need to make yourself visible and heard. A whistle is a great tool for this purpose. It's lightweight, doesn't require batteries, and the sound travels far. A signal mirror can also be used to reflect sunlight and attract attention from afar. Flares are another effective signaling tool, especially during the night or in low visibility conditions. Remember, the more ways you have to signal for help, the better your chances of being found. And lastly, clothing. The right clothing can make a world of difference in a survival situation. Your clothing is your first line of defense against the elements, so choose wisely. Wear layers to stay warm and be sure to include a waterproof and windproof layer. Avoid cotton as it absorbs moisture and can make you cold. Opt for wool or synthetic materials instead. They wick moisture away from your body and help maintain your body's core temperature. Also, don't forget a good pair of sturdy waterproof boots. Your feet will thank you later. Survival is all about being prepared and adaptable. And these four essentials, food, navigation, signaling, and clothing, can make a significant difference in your survival journey. They're not just items to pack in your kit. They're skills to learn, understand, and practice. So equip yourself not just with the right tools, but also with the right knowledge and mindset. In the end, remember, survival isn't about battling nature, it's about understanding it, respecting it, and working with it. And with the right tools and knowledge, you can do just that. With these essentials, you're well equipped to face almost any survival situation. And that's it, your top 10 essentials for survival. To recap, we've got a good knife, which is the Swiss Army knife of survival tools. Fire starters, because warmth, light, and cooked food are non-negotiables. Water purification methods, because clean water isn't a luxury, it's a necessity. Shelter building materials, because nature's roof isn't always enough. And a first aid kit, because accidents happen, especially when you're roughing it. Then we've got food, navigation tools, signaling devices, and appropriate clothing. All these play crucial roles in not just surviving, but thriving in the wilderness. Your survival kit can be as basic or as comprehensive as you want it to be, but these 10 items are your bare minimum. They're your lifeline when you're out there in the wild. Remember, knowledge is just as important as gear, so continue to learn more about survival skills and equipment. Equip yourself both physically and mentally. So what are your survival essentials? Share them in the comments below. Stay safe and keep exploring.